Cool. Let's bring it together. All right, cool. So, hey, welcome to my podcast. This is Kyle Howard. I'm starting my first podcast that I've ever created ever. I am a huge sports guy, so I figured it's about time that I finally share my love of the incredible world of sports, one of those few things that binds all of us together, but also makes us absolutely irrationally hate each other over a game. So a little background on me. My name is Kyle Howard, as you just heard before. I'm in master's school at the University of Florida. I'm just one of those guys who's just been a sports fan his whole life, man. I just figured it's finally time for me to share it with the world. So I hope that you enjoy this. Hope you come on back and you come back for more. So let's get it rolling. So it is currently, what is it today? Today is Monday, Veterans Day, the 11th of November. So over this last weekend, my voice is still a bit weak from the basketball game yesterday where the Gators played FSU and lost as a favorite, so I'm still a little bit angry. But we'll get over that because you can't have any prejudices and biases as a completely unbiased sports host. So as we know over this weekend, the biggest news of all was the fact that Joe Burrow pretty much completely solidified his place as the Heisman front runner. I think Vegas has him as minus 1,000 on the odds to win it, which is amazing if you'd seen his statistics last year. I mean, let me actually pull up his stats from last year, especially compared to this year. Look up Joe Burrow. Let's see what Joe Burrow's statistics were last season, because they did not portend the fact this year. Look at his stats: 3,200 yards, 33 touchdowns, 4 picks, and a 92.6 QBR. But if you go back to 2018, he had more than this season. He had 80 more passing attempts. His completion percentage was 23 points lower. He had almost 300 fewer yards passing, had 17 fewer touchdowns, and 1 more pick. That's in 80 more attempts, he had 17 fewer touchdowns and 1 more pick. So, and his completion percentage is 23% higher this year. If anyone had seen that coming, they're a madman, or there's someone with a crystal ball. But part of the reason why I love Vegas is because there were a couple lucky bettors this year that placed a $100 bet on Joe Burrow when he was minus 20,000 odds. I'm sorry, plus 20,000 odds. So that bet most likely is going to pay that lucky individual $20,000. And then I think there's another guy who placed $150 on him when it was plus 20,000. And I believe that bet will pay out $37,500, I believe is what it comes out to, math-wise. So imagine being those guys. Just either taking a stab in the dark or having some kind of innate knowledge of what the hell's going on in the world. They're going to make some money off an amazing pick. And I got to give Burrow credit. I'm a Gator fan. I went and watched Joe Burrow slice us up. I went to Death Valley and watched them slice us up in person. I saw that game. That guy is surgical. He's incredible. I mean, you're talking about Jamar Chase, Jefferson. You're talking about some of the receivers that they have are absolute weapons. And all the years that I've watched LSU, all these years, had so many amazing offensive players, so many amazing offensive draft picks. I mean, talking about Odell Beckham Jr., talking about really, Leonard Fournette. Talking about Jacob Hester. There's been so many incredible offensive players. I don't know why I'm not even going into their offense. I'm really pretty almost not bringing up great examples, but there's been so many incredible 5-star and 4-star wide receivers and running backs and everything. Besides Leonard Fournette, they haven't really produced anybody, at least that didn't produce in college. They're producing in the NFL. Like OBJ is the perfect example of that. But you look at all that talent, and they're finally using their fertile recruiting grounds there in Louisiana. Coach O's got them whirling. And if you don't love Coach O, I don't know what to tell you, because that guy inspires me. Oftentimes he's incredibly unintelligible, but he is a sweet man. He's a great recruiter. He's a great person. From everything I've ever heard, everything I've ever seen, that is an incredible human being, that man. And he gets nothing but respect from me because I've seen the way he carries himself, the way what he expects out of his team, what he expects from himself. And he's an incredible man. He's someone I would he's one of those guys I go to war for. I would play for that man right there. I would love to. So, I mean, obviously it's nice to have a coach that shows emotion, might cry or whatever. It's kind of nice to see someone who's a human. Saban's a little bit, more mechanical. I mean, there's a reason why he's great, because he's robotic almost. But Coach O, you can't help but root for him. And seeing LSU win this game over this weekend, 46-41, and finally exercise the demons in Tuscaloosa, was awesome. And that's funny, that game ended up, 46-41, which really isn't a very good indicator of how LSU felt like they dominated that game. Because without Tua throwing an 80-yard touchdown pass with 1:10 to go, that's a 2-score game. You're talking about they won that game by, what would it be, 12, 13. They would have won that game by a much larger score without just a crazy, over-the-top 80-yard touchdown pass. But LSU deserved that game, and it really warms the cockles of my heart to see them play like that and to win that game. But that's huge, because we're going to get into the AP poll, because the AP poll was released yesterday. And what was amazing is Alabama in the AP poll, I believe Alabama was number 2 last week. They went from number 2 to number 4, which to me, I'm not going to say that I hate it, because I'm not going to say that I hate it. I think that Alabama has shown that they can really, of course they can. They've been great for 12 years now. But I still believe that their strength of schedule has not proven anything. And it's so hard to say that, because Alabama just kicks the crap out of everybody. And when was the last time they lost to an unranked team? It was they've won 86 straight games against unranked teams. But as it relates to what the College Football Playoff Committee is supposed to say is the most deserving team, as it relates to what they deserve. And I think that at this point, they haven't proven that they are the most. My calendar alert for my class is going off, but it's Veterans Day, so we don't have class, but it's ruining everything. But at this point, to me, the 4 most deserving teams, you've got LSU number 1 and Ohio State number 2. I would probably have Clemson at number 3. And then number 4 would be Georgia at this point in time, just based off of who they've beaten. Because the fact that Georgia has had to beat, the University of Florida, they've had to, and obviously, and they're going to prove themselves, because they're going to be going most likely to the SEC championship game to play LSU, barring an unprecedented meltdown by LSU. But of course, Minnesota's jumped up, and honestly, I just want to take a moment right now to talk about it. PJ Fleck, you are a miracle worker, because within my lifetime, Minnesota's never been irrelevant in anything besides hockey. Maybe basketball a little bit. But the fact that they're 9-0 for the first time since the early 1900s, I'm talking about 1906 or something, 1901, whatever it was, they haven't been this relevant in 100 and almost 20 years. PJ Fleck has come in, rowed the boat, and brought them to national prominence. And I got to give you a lot of credit, PJ, because that's incredible. I mean, and I'm rooting for you guys every step of the way, man. I love seeing I want to see this. I'm sick of seeing Alabama, Clemson every single year, and it'd be nice to see a little bit of fresh blood. That's why I was kind of hoping Penn State would stay up there. But if Minnesota's going to do it, there's no better team. There's nobody I'd rather see up there than Minnesota, honestly. And my heart's out to you. And anyone who's watching that game, I can't believe that Penn State kept on giving up 25-yard pass, 30-yard pass, 20. I mean, it was the first half. I think their QB, I can't remember his name now, QB for Minnesota, I think, was 10 of 12 for 240 yards. He was completed 24 yards, a completion against a staunch Penn State defense. So I got to give him a lot of credit for that. It's really something that's awfully damn dumb impressive. So let's just say that right now I'm really excited to see the way the rest of the season plays out, because my big game this weekend is I'm excited for the Auburn-Georgia game this weekend, even as a Gator fan, where we still have a backdoor chance of getting into the not the playoff, but at least the SEC championship game. I think that game's going to be a real test because Georgia having to play on the road at Auburn. Auburn, as everybody knows, Jordan Hare is somewhat of a voodoo factory. The number of weird kick 60 type things that have happened there, tipped passes, whatever is going on, it can't be a comfortable place to go as an opposing team with any kind of hope of anything because Auburn's dashed a lot of dreams in the last 2 or 3 games of the year, and for a long time. So that's a game to watch out for. But of course, the college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow night. So I'm going to be trying to do this podcast 4 or 5 days a week, depending on how everything comes out. I might do like a Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing. I'm not exactly certain I want to do it yet. I'm just kind of sticking my toes in now. So let's go on to NFL now. So NFL, if anyone watched yesterday, I'm kind of a Colts fan. So watching Hoyer play is hurting my insides because it's bad. Like, I thought Brissett was playing a very competent quarterback. I thought he was playing quite well this year. And to see him go out and then we lost at home. The Colts lost at home to the Dolphins. The Dolphins, don't get me wrong, are improving a little bit with Fitzpatrick at quarterback. They look like a much more competent offense. Their defense has really stepped up the last couple of weeks. But you can see what a huge downgrade Hoyer is from Brissett. And the Colts getting Brissett back with their offensive line and with Mack running like he is and their defense being pretty good in the secondary and up front, I think the Colts got a pretty good chance of still winning, their division. Because, Houston is their big threat. I think the Titans may be at 5-5. They just beat the Chiefs yesterday at home, big win. But I'm still thinking that the Colts and the Texans are still the class of the AFC South. And I think it's going to come down to those two because Jacksonville doesn't really seem like they're going to put up a whole big fight. They'll still think Minshew is the better QB option. And with him not being the top option right now, I think that's probably going to hurt their playoff chances. I still didn't think that they were going to be a playoff team as it goes. I still think their defense is okay, their offense is okay, but I think with Leonard Fournette not being a factor, I think it's really going to be the Colts and the Texans at this point. And I think the Chiefs are still probably going to win their division. I think they've had a couple bumps in the road here. Really, Mahomes did look quite good yesterday. He really put up some stats. But of course, that's the AFC, but I'm thinking it's surprising the teams that have underperformed this year. So, like the Chiefs with almost the exact same team have underperformed to quite a degree. And same with the Rams. Seeing the Rams, were they 12-4 or 13-3 last year? I'm blown away that they haven't performed at the same level. Their offense has been very spotty. To see them become so average on offense, it almost hurts. Because Todd Gurley in the backfield, and you're talking about Jared Goff. Looked, the cow product. He looked really good, and I don't know what's happened there. I haven't followed him deep enough to know offensive line changes or defensive line changes. I don't really know. I just know they have Donald, who's ripping it up on the defensive line, but they've just been a pretty big disappointment, especially because I've thrown some money on them a couple times. And thanks, Rams. So, anyways, let's go on to the flavor of the evening, which is Monday Night Football. So Monday Night Football tonight is, I believe it's Seattle. I'm pretty certain they're at San Francisco. I got some cool stats here. So Seattle has won 10 of the last 11 games against the 49ers. They've won 4 out of the last 5 at San Francisco. And Seattle now is 25-16 all time against San Francisco. And San Francisco is a 6-point favorite tonight. I think Garoppolo, he's been I thought he'd be a little bit more of a factor this year as a real X factor, guy who could really change the game with 3 or 4 touchdowns, maybe put some yards rushing on them. But he's been a lot more of a game manager this year. He's only got, I think, 10 or 12 passing touchdowns this year. But he's managed the ball really, really well. And against Carolina, they just dominated on offense and defense. And I'll tell you the truth, with San Francisco as a 6-point favorite tonight, God, I can't pick against Russell Wilson, can I? I don't think I can. I think tonight I'd take Seattle +6. I'd take Seattle to stay within the spread. I see this being a close game. I think either Seattle's going to outright win this game or they're going to just take it 27-24 or 27-23, something along those lines, 30-28. It's kind of the way I see that game going. So I think that San Francisco's got the better defense this year, but Seattle's got the better offense. And then with Russell Wilson's a winner. He's just one of those guys that just doesn't give up. I mean, at the end of the game, he's always just such an effective player, passing, running wise. I can't bet it out, but it's going to be a great game because I saw a cool stat on ESPN. Had their stats and info up there today. I was reading in the bottom scroller, and I think it said that this is the 12th time on Monday Night Football. The 12th time on Monday Night Football, there's been a team that's 8-0 going in on Monday Night Football, and 7 of those 11 teams have made it to the Super Bowl, which I thought was fascinating. So, I mean, that kind of portends well for San Francisco, especially with the win tonight, of course. If they win, you're talking about they really do have the inside track to be able to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. Because besides Seattle, I really don't know a team in the NFC right now that really would put up a terribly good fight against them. Because I don't think that the Bears. I guess probably the Vikings would be my best bet in the NFC to be able to fight them. Because I think that the Bears just don't have the offense. They have the most vicious defense out there. Their defense is incredible, but I don't see that their offense has. I just don't trust Trubisky. I just don't trust their running game. I know their defense can play, but I just don't think their offense is up to par. But watching the Vikings, Kirk Cousins is turning the corner. Were they 5-1 in their last 6 games? I see that the Vikings have a pretty darn good shot to be able to knock off really anybody that they're playing in the future. I like their chances, but I think right now the class of the NFC is really Seattle, Minnesota, and San Francisco. That's really the class of the NFC right now. And I guess who else? I don't know why I'm saying that. I guess maybe it kind of pushed me back after I saw the way that the New Orleans Saints were manhandled last night. That's been a really good New Orleans Saints team. To lose to what were they, a 1-7 going into yesterday? 1-7 or 2-7, something like that. I think they're 1-7 going into yesterday. They're 2-7. 1-7. Anyways, but they're 1 or 2 win Atlanta Falcons team that's just been getting blown out and getting whacked. They went into New Orleans and whacked the Saints with 39-9. That's unbelievable. You're talking about that was a Saints team. With Bridgewater quarterback, they're doing quite well as well. Were they 4-0 with him, 5-0, something like that, or 5-1. But once Breeze came back, you thought that team was just going to just slam everybody. And I think right now it's probably why they're not in my upper echelon tier right now of complete teams in the NFC, because I just don't think right now. I think that they're also playing in the NFC. The NFC South doesn't seem that, because the Bucs right now don't know what the hell's going on. Winston's throwing 3 picks a game, it seems like. The Panthers don't know whether or not they're going to. Some days you don't know if they seem like they could win 40-14, and the next day they seem like they can be beat 40-14. Christian McCaffrey's got an outside shot at NL MVP, but I just don't know if the consistency is there with them. And, of course, the Falcons are supposed to be very mediocre. I really don't know what to believe there. But I think right now, and then, of course, the class, the AFC, is the Patriots, of course, is the class. Until there's a time when we can prove that they're not going to make the Super Bowl, which hasn't happened in a while. So, it's them and the Ravens. The Ravens are impressing me like crazy. Lamar Jackson's for real. I don't care who has to hear it. Lamar Jackson is for real. He's had this season 2, not 1, but 2 perfect passer ratings. 2. As a guy who is a running quarterback, right? The guy who won the Heisman at Louisville. This is a guy who's had 2 perfect passer ratings in a season. That's only the 6th time in history that's ever happened. 6th. And I think it's it's the other way around. I think it's only the 2nd time there's ever been 2 perfect passer ratings in one season. The last guy to do it was Ben Roethlisberger in 2007. So you're talking about all these years with Tom Brady. You're talking about all these years with Phil Rivers. I mean, all these incredible quarterbacks you've had in the last 15 years. Brett Favre. I mean, you name it. None of them have done what Teddy Bridgewater has done. Think about that. This is a guy who's a 6'2" quarterback that nobody gave a shot of being a really legitimate pocket passer. The guy's incredible. Not only that, but he also runs for 70, 80 yards a game. What are you going to do about that? I mean, the guy's a monster. I mean, I give him nothing but praise. I think John Harbaugh has done a great job there. And I think that it's them and the Patriots really in the AFC. I think the Chiefs right now have shown that their defense is a little more porous than I thought they would be this year. I thought their defensive line would be a little stronger. I really don't know who else in the AFC. Not the Dolphins, for certain. I'd say probably the Texans, Houston's got a shot. Just because with Deshaun Watson, you can't put a price on a good quarterback. You can never count out a team with a great quarterback. And the Colts maybe, but that's a little bit of homerism there. I don't think I can really play it that way. But I don't think the AFC's really got anybody that would scare me. If I were the Patriots or the Ravens, I honestly believe that's probably going to be my my AFC championship picks would be Baltimore versus New England. Obviously, that's probably the most popular picks right now, but those are the two teams that to me that have shown me the most. And especially the other big thing about Baltimore, not only do they play a very good defense, they also play a very good offense, and they have a very solid special teams. I mean, they seem like that their punt return and their kick return game is very solid. And that's something to me that would scare me if I was any other team because, I mean, not only can they score on offense, they can also score on defense and special teams. So, anyways, I think right now, so here's my pick for tonight. I'm going to take Seattle +6. I would probably actually take them probably to win outright just because I think that Russell Wilson's just a man. That guy he doesn't lose. And recent history, 10 of 11 for Seattle. Granted, obviously, those weren't incredible San Francisco teams they beat. But I believe that Seattle, I just don't think you can count out, you can never count out Seattle. You can never count out Russell Wilson. I mean, on the road, they've won 4 out of 5 at San Francisco. He's had a win on the road. He's had a win in November. And my money would be on Seattle tonight, +6. So that does it for my first podcast. I think we're 20-something minutes in now. I hope you enjoyed it. My voice is a little bit weak. It's kind of gurgly and a little bit deeper than it normally would naturally be. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope that you tell your friends. And because I'm new at this, I would thank you for listening, for watching, for joining me on this cool journey into the unknown. This is my first podcast, and I ran out of video actually on my first memory card. I had a 128 gig, and I guess I've already used it up. Obviously not just this podcast, but I just want to make certain that you, I hope that you enjoyed yourself, enjoyed my podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed what I do. If you have any suggestions, if you have anything that you'd like to hear about, things you'd like to analyze, anything else like that, I'd be more than happy. Maybe answer some questions. People want to know ideas, parlay picks, etc. Whatever it is, just more than welcome to leave a comment, and I'd be more than happy to address that for you. So anyways, this is Kyle Howard signing off, thanking you for watching the podcast, for being a part of my journey, and I hope that this continues and we can have a good time together. Thank you all, and have a great Veterans Day.